Anthropic versus the government. It's a simple story, isn't it? Psych? Totally isn't, but don't worry, we're gonna deconstruct the entire thing. We're gonna reveal the fact that ain't nobody telling the truth. Isn't that a weird thing? Ain't nobody telling the truth except for me. Hello, beautiful people. Today is day 226 of Office Hours. I'm Brian Brushwood, your host. Office Hours. We go out live to 5 different fandoms on Scam School, on YouTube, on Modern Rogue, on X.com, to the dozens of humans remaining over at LinkedIn, but of course the elite ones. The real ones are the Diamond Club, the hardcores who show up every single day with their time, energy, and effort. They're the only ones I care about. All right, guys. A lot of people are talking about this Anthropic versus government showdown. Everybody gets it wrong. And I know that for a fact because quite literally no person can know the entirety of the puzzle. I can only go 5 layers deep, and that's what we're going to do. But first, of the many battlefields, whether it's the positioning for Anthropic, whether it's the positioning of what AI means, is it a weapon? Can you export it? We're going to find out. But the most important battleground is the battleground for your mind. Look, there's one skill you got to develop right here every single day, and that is reminding yourself of how easy human brains are to fool. We are soft and squishy, so we go to the cognitive gym. We build up our cognitive defenses every single day by going bit by bit through the entirety of the Scam School catalog. Scam School, the only show dedicated to social engineering at the bar and on the street. We're going to watch this episode. This is, I believe it went out with the wonderfully 2010 title, Predict a Hottie's Phone Number. Get digits at the bar. You can tell we're moving into transactional titles at this point. A little bit of SEO optimization. But the important part is we're going to watch this episode in its entirety. We're going to learn all of its secrets, and then we're going to do some degenerate gambling and solve this whole Anthropic versus the government showdown. So for now, let's take a look at episode 123, Predict a Hottie's Phone Number.
This week, the secret to getting the girl's number and only looking mostly creepy. You're gonna look creepy. This episode of Scam School brought to you by Netflix. Go to www.netflix.com/scamschool for your free trial membership and Squarespace. Welcome to the show that proves that while magic will never make you cool, it can make you drunk. Scam School, the only show dedicated to social engineering at the bar and on the street. I'm your host, Brian Brushwood, and this week we have a special guest. He's the host of a competing podcast. He's one of the earliest fans of Scam Schools and one of our darkest arch nemeses. I present to you our good friend, Chris Lisinski. Oh my God, finally on the show, it is Chris Lisinski.
Hello,
and I just met you, Aurora. It is good to meet you as well.
Aurora.
All right, now Chris, you and I first met back when Scam School first launched, back when you were doing Hack College, right?
At the very beginning, I remember.
And in fact, you actually already appeared on Scam School because we did our From the Forums episode, and you demonstrated.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's right, okay.
And it was so good that Brian was like, there's no way that that person was faking it. They must have been acting.
Well, yeah, it was so good we almost rejected it because it actually looked awesome. And then my favorite moment was you wrote me, you're like, hey, I host a show called Hack College, and golly darn, you came up with Scam School, and I'm so jealous.
Exactly.
But now we get to make all of it right because you had a trick I had never seen
collaboration,
before.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you got? Show it to me.
So here we go. This is for Aurora.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Ready.
Okay. You're single, right, Aurora?
Yeah.
That's very important to get that out of the way.
Makes it way less creepy.
It has nothing to do with the magic trick. It's just for no. It does kind of. It does.
By the way, this is already my favorite setup because I always say literally I have to do nothing, but this episode literally I just get to sit here and interrupt
make
with
little witty remarks,
little
and
witticisms
stuff. Please,
from the
jump
side.
'em in.
I'll be over
Okay.
here drinking while you guys do the trick. Go.
So, all right. Basically, I have this skill, this special skill. I bet you that I can pick out your phone number from a bunch of random ones. Okay. So here's how we're gonna set this up. I have just a regular beer coaster that we're gonna use, and then I have a pen to write your phone number on there with. Okay. So this might be a ploy, maybe, to get your phone number, perhaps. So here's what I want you to do. I'm gonna turn my back, and then you can just kind of spin it around, rotate it in any direction, and then write your phone number on there.
Don't look. Don't look.
Right.
I'm serious.
All right, I won't. No, I'm not looking. I promise.
Turn it over.
Okay, so now just rotate it a little bit and write another just random digits
Made-up number.
for made-up phone number. All right, you can rotate it again, and then anywhere on there write another number.
This is good. Now I'm interested. At first I was like, this is a really crappy trick. You just ask her to write down her number and you're like, thanks. But now
Well,
I'm
maybe.
seeing...
I mean, don't get your expectations too high. Now rotate it, go again. Do this like 4 or 5 more times if you want. Just keep
So you're saying fill it all up.
writing random numbers. Do about like 5 or 6.
So this is camouflage is what you're doing. You're writing a bunch of different numbers. All right,
Okay.
she's got it.
So there's a bunch of phone numbers on here. You ready? You ready for me to look at this? Okay. Because now I have to divine which one is yours.
Okay.
Because sort of you start to own your phone number in a miraculous way.
It's a spiritual bond.
It's a spiritual bond
between you and
sort
your
of,
numbers.
But first, all I have to do is make a few phone calls here.
because you're a creepy asshole. There
Exactly.
you go.
Just call some random people. No. We're gonna do this legitimately. I'm actually good, but it might make it more dramatic if you bring out your phone. Do you have your phone on you actually? Okay. So bring out your phone number. Should we make this a legitimate scam? If I can figure out which phone number is yours without calling random numbers, okay?
Well,
Then you have to buy me a beer.
No, you already got her phone number.
Well, that's what I get if I win.
No, yeah, you get to buy her a beer because you're a gentleman.
Okay, so
You
I'll
gotta
buy
say-
you a
say-
beer,
yeah.
and you'll go on a date with me.
Whoa.
No, okay, all right,
All right, you got the
Either
number.
way.
Please let us.
All right, so
This is not going well.
Brian, the dating coach is here. That's good.
No,
Okay.
yeah. First of all, I'm the last person anyone should come to for dating advice, right?
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna kind of look around here. See if I can. Give me a little eye contact here. Look at the phone. Oh, it's an LG, Verizon.
Did it happen?
It's calling.
It's gonna be some old lady on the other line.
It's calling.
Hello?
Let's see.
Hello?
Wait
You
for
better
it.
answer, because when somebody answers,
Wait for it.
this is, oh, we have a winner!
Oh my God! Got it. Boom. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and go.
Dude, that was awesome. Very
Yeah.
well done. I want to know how this one's done. But first, you know the rules. We got to thank
yeah,
our
we
sponsors.
gotta thank the sponsors.
There you go.
Holy
Guys,
moly.
seriously.
All right, so here's the game. If you're noticing a different vibe on this episode, here's why. I believe this shoot, one of the cameras lost all of its footage. And so as a result, we just had to kind of make something up. So a lot of moments that would have normally gotten cut that feel, funny or silly in the moment are way too much. Like the yelling for a really long time bit, that would have gotten cut. A lot of, we would have gotten more clean takes. Nowadays, there's a lot we would have done different. But this is an earlier episode with a guest showing a trick. And you can kind of tell that it's before we had established Brian does not yet have his laid back energy, his unthreatened energy. This is early enough that he's still trying to remind new people that Brian is the host of the show, which unfortunately creates a bit of an unbalanced dynamic. Nowadays, we would build the whole thing from scratch, knowing what the end shape looks like, but we're still feeling out parts of it. Here we go.
Basically, all I did was before I came here, I took a little bit of chapstick, rubbed it on my finger, and then you just put a little dab of it on the end of the pen, okay? And what happens is as soon as Aurora goes down to write down the first phone number, which is hers, the numeral will begin with a little groove in the paper and then develop into an actual line.
So you can actually see.
You can actually see
And it
a
doesn't
little
start
dot.
right Now, did you notice that when you did it?
Where?
No.
It is very subtle. That is
See, the
awesome.
part that's good about it is like, because chapstick is like an oil.
Yeah.
So it just goes into the little ball of the pen and just oils around. It just rolls around like it's oil. So it doesn't like clog up the pen or anything like that. It just keeps rolling.
That is awesome.
So, and then by the time she's done with her phone number, all that goop is gone. And she just keeps writing all the other ones.
So I noticed also that you didn't just tell her to write a bunch of numbers and have her number be first. If you do that, they'll know something's up about
Exactly.
it, right?
So instead, what I kind of do is I started off as like, oh, these are the instructions. Like, here's what we're gonna do: just put your phone number down, spin it around, put your phone number on there randomly. And
Right.
that kind of establishes like a thing, and then you keep repeating that And then once they get the hang of it, you say, just keep, just put phone numbers anywhere you want on there, and then
Dude, that is
sort of roll
awesome.
right into it.
That was freaking great. Now,
Yeah.
now I understand that there's some other impromptu variations because I don't carry chapstick with me.
I am one of those metro kind of guys, I guess, that carries chapstick at all times in my pocket.
It's very brave of
Yeah.
you to admit
And
right
so,
here on the internet.
But I do have a couple other variations, some that are completely indetectable.
All right, then we'll do
and
anytime,
some
anywhere.
that
All right,
are
I want to learn
impromptu.
those, and then Aurora is going to do the trick on me.
Oh man, you can tell what's interesting is that quiet confidence that we had in the previous few episodes where we were doing everything on rails and we knew exactly the shape of everything. That dynamic is really kind of thrown off when number one, whenever you have a guest host, especially somebody who is presenting, they're also feeling out the shape of the trick in the moment, because there's only so many times that you can practice it and get iterations to deeply intuit the shape of how the trick is supposed to go. So this is a lot of raw feed showing up in the final product here. But in the meantime, that method I thought was really clever because it skipped a step. I was waiting for there to be questions or some kind of other stuff. Instead, he went straight to just guessing her phone number, which almost tickles the too perfect thesis, where if magic is too perfect, it ceases to be amazing. But here we go.
This is pretty awesome because you can just go to a bar that has coasters, grab a pen out of a jar, and just do this. Like, and be ready to go in seconds.
All right.
If you're disgusting enough to grab a big bunch of nose grease right there, which is sure to really seal the deal on the phone
I
number
like the way
thing.
you made that look so attractive. You're like nose grease.
Get some nose grease. And just
You're
really carve
dripping
it out
with
of there.
it, right?
All right, well, here's the important question. I want to know if this is as simple as you claim and if Aurora can divine my phone number.
I think someone just wants to give out their phone number to Aurora.
I'm not going to lie. That could very well be the problem.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you this coaster.
Yes,
I'm
got
gonna
it.
give you this pen.
All right, got it. And
And
what?
just write your number whenever you're ready.
All right, here we go.
And tell me when you're done.
All right, got it.
Okay. Now what next? I want you to spin it around a few more times.
Okay, got it.
And write another phone number.
Another phone number?
Another phone number
All right,
that's
all
not
right.
your own.
Got it.
Okay. Now do it a few more times. As many
Over
more
and over
times.
and over again,
Yeah,
just making up numbers?
Just write a few
All
more
right.
numbers down.
Put my phone number on there too if you want. I'll contribute.
All right,
Got it.
got it.
Okay.
I got a bunch of numbers.
I am going to take this coaster
All right.
and I am going to determine which one is your own.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You'll figure out which one is my real number.
Yes.
All right, go
I'm
on.
gonna look at her, take a look.
I think that
And
one's
now-
a good
oh.
bet. I think
1-800 beef guy. that may actually
must
be
be
my
your seat.
that may actually be my number.
Okay, so I'm going to take out my phone
How are you?
and I'm going to dial the number that I think is yours.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I will
really.
warn you, the number I put on there has a voice prompt, so you'll want to actually listen and press numbers. All right, here, I'll just put this here. By the way, you'll notice that my phone is featuring the sporty Scam School screensaver, available right at revision3.com/scamschool. Wait for it. Oh! She correctly divined my number. That was amazing. Very well done, Aurora, who's leaving me hanging awkwardly. Thank you very much, Chris, who did not leave me hanging. That was amazing. Always a pleasure to have you on, Chris. Thank you very much, Aurora. That was awesome.
Thank you.
First and foremost, want to thank friend of the show, Chris Lasinski, for joining us on this episode. And I want to hear about your success stories and failure stories, so post them at the boards at scamschool.tv, where you can see all of our episodes right back to episode 1. If you're doing the Twitter thing, you can follow the show at twitter.com/scamschool, or you can follow me personally at twitter.com/schwood. If you want to suggest your favorite bar scam, write me directly at brian@revision3.com, and join us next week for a very special episode where we get to share a piping hot bowl of Quaker oatmeal with Wilford Brimley. Let's just hope it doesn't affect his diabetes. I'm going to finish these pictures.
Hey guys, how would you like it for me to come in
How
person?
would you like it? Yeah, man, I think I still have those photos from that photo booth. How about that? That's crazy. I think it was the iPhone 3 was the one I had, BioCal. And definitely, I know I had every single version of the iPhone up until like maybe the last 3-4 years. And at some point, I stopped needing longer battery life, a better camera, and improved processing power. But as you guys know, we're going to place our bets because this episode came back all the way in the summer of 2010, but we don't know which ones took off. So we head on over to Guess Attack, GUESSATTACK.com, and we place bets for internet points, the most valuable and real durable currency on the internet. Meanwhile, this one has some things going for it. First of all, predict a hottie's phone number, very transactional, functional title. If that pops up, you see a picture of a girl, predict a hottie's phone number, maybe you click on that. But then again, I don't know, this is also pretty late in the use magic to meet girls game. So I don't know if it popped up. So I'm just going to head on over to guessattack.com. Take a look right here. Here we go. Coming in with 1.2 million views is Hawk Warley. Not Scary Steve with 1776. We'll commence again. Pierce. BioCal with 369,963. Oh, yeah, it's Adam. Says 500,002 taking the over. Korometriku says 318,008. ATL John Boy says 652,789. Earth 56 says 565,656. Korometriku. Well, wait a minute. Who is the other guy? Says 911. He said that 911 was on my phone. That's interesting. Matt York says 420K. Seed Blocker says 424,676. I'm a hip hopper with my Seed Blocker. Joey H666 says 300,000. I wonder if anybody knows that. Sinewave says 761,776. Banterat with 169,000. Joker Lemon with 22,000. Argyle Gargoyle with 555,555. Pay it forward. Java Coder says 55,501. G James B says 567,890. Hippity hoppity, get off my property with 102,837,109,280. Not bad. I think we're just over 2 billion total. But that, you never know. Could be a glitch in the matrix. Wago says 5,640,952. And the real number of views this episode got all the way back from July 21st, 2010 was 213,871. That's pretty good. Let's do guesses. Closed. Pop that in. We'll find out who our big winners are. Coming in with a gold medal. Congratulations to Banterat with 169,000 on the nosy. Joey H666 with 300,000. Kurometariku's, if it is him, 318,008. That one did higher. I think the heavy lifting on that one was done by the promise of the title and thumbnail, less on the execution. The trick is good. The trick is a good, clever effect. To be honest, I had drifted away from that one far enough that I had forgotten exactly what was the method on this one. And the fact that there's only one step and you instantly get it, I think is very diabolical. But the overall presentation, the flavor of the episode, a bit strained, I would say. This wouldn't work for everybody. If you're like me and you're writing something down and the pen doesn't write, I will go back and write it again until the ink comes out. Although in that case, you would be able to tell that somebody went back and wrote many times on there. But let's do this. Let's head on over to officehours.themodernrogue.com. This, of course, is our community-driven document that you guys are welcome. Anybody who's watching this is welcome to pitch and contribute a story to all of this stuff so that we can talk about the real issues. In case you're just waking up, in case you're just joining us, in case you're just now noticing what's going on, the world is a little bit cattywampus. We're in the middle of a generational shift. One for the history books. If you've ever looked at the stories of folks who transformed the dot-com revolution, who rode the dot-com bubble, who grew up in dot-com 2.0, internet 2.0, social media and whatnot, guess what? It's happening again. And because nobody knows what the rules are, basically because language is lossy compression. Get this. Here's a shower thought for you guys. I was thinking about language. If you're unfamiliar, you got a whole section of your brain called Broca's area. Every time you're thinking words, it's in that one segment of your brain. Now, you got a big brain. It goes all over the place. You sense things kinesthetically, auditorially, visually. Language is only a little piece of things. We tend to think of that as conscious thought, but that's just the language part of your brain. It is also a form of telepathy. Real high thoughts coming. Stick with me. You got external reality. You got the way things actually are. And then you perceive it a certain way, and you live in your internal reality. And for most of human history, or for most of animal history, all of those are locked off. Maybe you could guess what's going on inside the mind of another person if you have theory of mind, but there is no way to share that. Then along comes language, which lately I'm thinking of as lossy compression telepathy, right? So you have thoughts in your head, you reduce it down to some number of words, they head over there, and they roughly paint the picture that's in your mind to the other person, and then they say it back and forth, right? The problem is, because it's lossy compression, words can have lots of meaning. Did you guys know that you could say something that is technically true and would be compatible with a true representation of events, and yet also, technically, it would be incompatible with an untrue set of events? So strange. It all depends on what game you're playing. And that's what I want to talk about this Anthropic versus the government showdown. So, first of all, here's what I did. I had a robot, speaking of which, who better than to interview than a robot? So here's the way I wrote the prompt. If you guys have not been paying attention, I write a lot of adversarial prompts. I ask robots to take on the identities of people representing multiple sides of an issue, and whenever I say something that I think is clever, I always type the words cross-examine them. So in this case, let's go with the 4 different perspectives. Let's say you just got here. Right now, the issue that, as everybody likes to talk about it, is, I'm on team A, I'm on team B. The story is simply blank. So if you're looking at it through that just got here lens, the just showed up government side steelman would be, look, Anthropic released an extremely powerful AI model with cybersecurity capabilities. We believe foreign adversaries could use them for military intelligence, cyber operation, or vulnerability discovery. Until we know they can't be misused, Anthropic needs to stop foreign nationals from accessing them. Well, that sounds simple enough. The government cares about the people and doesn't want these gnarly tools in the hands of people who would threaten to destroy our republic. What could be more patriotic? Here's the flip on that. So I guess the plain language government case is you built a cyber power tool, you connected it to the internet, we're not comfortable letting everyone in the world use it until we understand the blast radius. Fair enough. Here's the inverse of that. Look, Mr. Government, we built these models carefully. We tested them extensively. We worked with the governments. We're trying to play ball. And then we got hit with a vague emergency order that doesn't explain the actual threat. The rule's so broad that we had to turn the models off for everyone. You pick a lane, my guy. Well, that's obviously reasonable. They're just saying, don't punish us for doing safety work. Don't regulate frontier models by surprise letters. Give us a clear standard. Show us the evidence, and we'll apply it evenly. Now, left out of this version is the fact that Anthropic decided to shut off everyone's power as a statement to the government to raise the stakes in the face-off between the two. But both of these are surface level. Both of these are stories that make sense over the last 5 days. In the last week, these stories make sense, which of course, there's context that comes before. Neither of those surface stories, I believe, is the real tension. It's not simply AI safety company versus reckless government or vice versa, not patriotic national security. The story is when a private company builds a capability that starts to look like national infrastructure, does the company still get to decide the acceptable rules for use? Or does the state? Now, this is getting closer because the last time the government and Anthropic had a pissing contest, it was over a very simple provision where the government says, we would like your tools, please. We do many things, including law, running the transportation, logistics, whole bunch of things. Also, we do war. And then Anthropic says, yes, you better believe it. We love your money, Mr. Government. Just one thing. We're going to dictate how you do war because we have very precise ideas about what are the ethical ways to do it. And the government says, yeah, we're not in the business of letting individual vendors tell us how to do war. We literally named a department over it. So in this case, the real fight becomes when a private company builds. There we go. Let's go down this one. So the question is pro-Anthropic versus pro-government. Look, we can't let private labs become the real foreign policy actors of the United States. Now, Anthropic will say, whoa, you don't have a beef with us. You have a beef with all frontier models. You got to spell it all out. And the government, again, this is once you strip away all of the word scaffolding, all of the rhetoric, this becomes really a definition of what a thing is. Because eventually we have to take reality, we have to reduce it to our lossy compression of words upon which all of our laws are based. You'll notice that in all of the legal system, they're constantly citing precedent because all the law system cares about is at some point did we convert some version of reality into words. Whatever those words are, we're going to keep on using unless we go back and reposition all those words. Still not getting to the real issue. If we back up more, well, here, let's do this. Here's the harder-edged version. Anthropic is looking for moral veto power over the U.S. military when they want access, but it also wants the commercial freedom when allied or foreign customers want access. You don't get to be pacifist with Washington and globalist with everyone else. That's a fair way to put it. The government posture, again, if this technology is strategically important, then democratic governments, not corporate security boards, not effective altruist labs, not investor-backed CEOs, must set the outer boundary. Oh! Did we tiptoe into some words you hadn't heard before? Effective altruism. I wonder. We'll see what that has to do with anything. Yeah, put a pin in all that. The deeper Anthropic side. Look, man. The government wants the benefits of our caution until our caution interferes with state powers. Pick a lane. You want us on the hook for making sure everything's safe, and yet, when we try to make everything safe, you get bristly about it. Pick a lane. When we say national security, we can override your process with a vague directive. The deeper Anthropic posture, again, charitable steelman. We're not saying the government has no role. We're saying that the rules must be knowable before launch. Technically grounded, competitively neutral, and not be invented in private after a panic. Yeah, this iteration of the U.S. government does have a well-earned reputation for being, shall we say, reactive. They tend to respond to things fairly. I don't know what the word is. They turn on a dime, not like a glacier, right? And then finally, another lens which we probably don't have time for right now. All of these headline-grabbing dust-ups, you'll notice that in general, OpenAI is trying to stay very quiet about everything except for one thing. New thing is out, is good. OpenAI, in the public sphere, I don't know about the actual boots-on-the-ground technicalities in terms of who has more access to more compute. It sounds like Anthropic is closing the gap when it comes to the number of gigawatts available. I believe OpenAI has 1.9. Anthropic is at 1.5 gigawatts. So on the technical side of things, there's going to be an arms race on amount of calories available to run compute. There's going to be an arms race in terms of computational model quality going ahead of each other. All of that is factual reality and different from the battle of the human mind, positioning. In the human mind, we like Coke and Pepsi. Now, Coke may be factually 10 times better than Pepsi or vice versa, but in the mind, We like them to be about the same, and we pick one flavor that feels right. Anthropic, as long as they are owning these headlines, as long as they are, the smartest move for Anthropic to make for market share is to increasingly make this a red state, blue state coded issue. AI has done a pretty good job of staying outside of that space. But now Anthropic is seeing a shortcut to go from possibly third place, because right now, if you ask me, it's probably OpenAI, then Gemini, then Anthropic. They could go from first place to a neck and neck second place simply by using the psychological cheat code that would be very in tune with their human-centric name, Anthropic, and basically get people to remap all of their allegiance to blue team groups and position it with Anthropic. But don't take my word for it. I'm just a tourist in this space. I just know humans. We've got live on the line, Sign. How much of that did I get right, Sign?
Absolutely all of it. That is my take entirely. It's pretty much, you got Anthropic sitting there being like, look at our new thing. It's so powerful. It's so dangerous, yet we're willing to sell it. You can't be both. But then the government, and I don't say this often, but the government actually has a very good take of being like, hey, let's pump the brakes. You can't say that you don't want to give it to us, but then give it to everybody else. You can't play both sides of the fence.
Yeah, well, and keep in mind, I want to be real careful to not wade into actually picking a side. I just want to explain what game, like, to me, if there's one role that we can offer here on the Modern Rogue, it is to disambiguate not who's right, but to disambiguate what game they're even playing. So the game that everyone is pretending to play is oftentimes not the game they're really playing. Ultimately, the fake level is this week's headlines. The next level is this week's headlines in the context of the overall struggle. And then the beneath that is what are they actually playing? And so in a world where Anthropic is playing for market share and dominant positioning and fighting with the government is so much free advertising. It is all the free advertising. Yes. When I talk to randos on the street, when they talk about Codex, as you and I know, it now works with PC and is able to manipulate files and help you learn to code. Everybody has access to it, and it does great. And yet, if you go to randos on the street, they know Claude code. And as far as they know, they don't even know that OpenAI has something functionally, give or take, as good as Claude code.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, show of hands in the chat, how many people have used ChatGPT versus actually used Claude code? I'm not saying like you go to the Claude website and use that. I'm saying actually use Claude code.
Yeah, I find that it is very, and look, it's a big leap. It was a big leap for me, who had hypothetical knowledge of all of this stuff, to actually download and install and start working with Codex. Those bits of friction, we've talked about this before, but like on the Weird Things podcast, we got demos of GPT-3 before there was ChatGPT at all. And internally, by all accounts, from what awesome insider sauce I've been able to hear through the walls, nobody at OpenAI really predicted ChatGPT suddenly, because functionally almost nothing changed. It was the exact same thing. All they did was strip away 3 layers of open an account, set up a thing, and instead they made it one button. Objectively, this changed nothing about it. But subjectively, the perception to anybody on the outside went from, you do a bunch of programmer stuff and I think it talks to you, compared to you press this button and say howdy and it'll talk back. That is a night and day thing subjectively, while objectively very little changes. But anyway, so in terms of help me understand. This is the part that is blurry to me. That is a little bit shrouded. What is today's argument that both sides are doing? I know that Anthropic had to dust up with the government, and it seemed to me, with my outsider's eyes, that saying Mythos so important, national security risk. We would like to work with the government. That seemed like a good olive branch to resume, negotiations with the U.S. government. And then now it seems like their government is pushing back. Explain to me what that part of things, what the stated excuses are, because they released a guardrailed version of Mythos called what?
I cannot remember what they called it, but it's bare minimum. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Effectively, the two arguments that's going on right now. First, Anthropic, they want to play the line.
Fable, that's the name. Thank you very much, Reka63.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're saying we've got the most powerful model. It's finding security exploits and different things like that. So it's dangerous. So we can't trust it with anybody. But if you're of a certain bracket, we can have a conversation and might be able to pass our muster so that we can trust you with a private license. At the same time, the government, they're saying we would like to use this, but there have been conflicting things where Anthropic has said, well, we don't want this being used for military operations, yada, yada, yada. How much of that they believe and everything, that's up to you. But ultimately, because the U.S. government is saying we are not being given all of this, but we are seeing where they are giving it to South Korea. They are giving it to all of these other places. We are very concerned that you are providing something that you are advertising as having all of these really dangerous capabilities. You have built a gun. You've built a gun, and you're very, very careful with everybody you're trying to sell that gun to domestically, but you seem to not care about who you're selling it to abroad. And so how much of that is true, we don't know, because, a lot of these things that are actually controlling everything is behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But these are the narratives that both sides are trying to play.
So here's where we're going to run out of time, because otherwise we can go forever and ever and ever. But here's where I'm at now. Surface level argument. I think we wrapped our minds around what everyone's saying. But the important thing is the two different games I'm seeing is Anthropic is playing for market share, and they just want to grab headlines, and they're crushing it in that they're mapping their pitch for human-centric beliefs, and they're getting all the free publicity. Meanwhile, the government game is playing all things being equal. We would like to be in charge of whatever this is, and so they will continue to find rhetorical excuses to penetrate that space. Now, they would not be so foolish as to take on the number one dominant market pioneer, OpenAI. So instead, in keeping with the reputation of the current administration, they are picking on a third place vehicle, because they don't want to fight with OpenAI, who's number one. They don't want to fight with Google, who's already well established. But meanwhile, this is a symbiotic dog and pony show that's happening, because Anthropic is stealing all the headlines, which they like, and the U.S. government is establishing a rhetorical foothold in the very idea that for some reason government should be controlling what private businesses create in terms of models.
Nail on the head.
Right there. Well, good. I'm glad we cleared that one up. Thank you very much, Sign. Where do you want people to go?
Help.sign.com. That would help me out greatly.
All right, right on. Help.sign.com. All right, I'll see you, man. All right, one last thing, and then I got to flip over and do the bones with one Justin Robert Young. We have a new episode coming out. It's really good. It's like a 20-minute long episode. Here, we could do a little behind-the-scenes preview. I'm going to figure out titles and thumbs later on today, but let's do this. Boom. There we go. This will be, I think I'm going to call it How to Pick Your Very First Lock. There we go. So do me a favor, make sure to click on that. If you're hearing this, just the moment you see it, click on it, because as the channel matures and grows up, there's a phenomenon that Jordan Breeding calls the need to survive your own audience, because any YouTube channel that has been around a long time has gone through a lot of flavors. So think about the Beatles. Some people's on-ramps for the Beatles are the bubblegum pop music of the late 1950s. Other fans of the Beatles are the Magical Mystery Tour era. That's their on-ramp. Some people like late Abbey Road. Some people like the post-Beatles stuff. But if a new Beatles thing comes out, everybody's got their own flavor of the Beatles that they're the most fan of. And so whatever it is has to survive exposure with everybody, where in general they're like, yeah, this is pretty Beatlesy, and they co-sign on it. Your version of that, as a fan of the Mono Rogue, is to click on that thumbnail when it shows up and serves it to you. Really, it matters the most on that very first day. If you ever see a Mono Rogue episode, just click it, let it run. Well, I guess that's universal advice. Everyone's going to say that. But especially in the first 24 to 48 hours of there, because what if we get over a 6% click-through rate? That's what led to our biggest release of all time, the Meshtastic episode. And so likewise, I hope the same thing happens. It's a revisit to how to pick locks. This one with Ryer, we get to see Ryer's very first time picking a lock, and we find out what's going on inside there. Here's the opening. Breaker 19, wake on up!
Rise and shine. So how was it?
Yeah, it was
Great, man. Everything I hoped it would be, and so much more.
ever since I was a very, very young person.
I heard tales of this ancient and decrepit, just
Withered magician who had this
property down south somewhere with a shack that was just
overflowing with merch. And I thought to myself, oh, I want to experience what it's like to be inside that
crotchety old man's merch shack. I want to spend the night in that.
and then wake up and have to lockpick myself out.
I love it. It's such a great opening. I really hope this one does well, because in 1 minute we've set up the entire narrative framework. We also hopefully surprise you at the very beginning with what looks like a movie in a kind of The Office style documentary reality conceit. Anyway, I'm very, very excited about this episode. Make sure to click on it later on. Maybe we'll do a premiere. We'll find out. But regardless, you guys are the best people on the planet. I will see you guys tomorrow. This episode of Office Hours is brought to you by gentlemen, warriors, and scoundrels like you.